Thank you for the intervention by my comrade brother Dapo here, and the the active efforts of my producer too in connecting you. Yes, a good afternoon to you, Mr. Badijuku Adesumbo. Thank you for joining us on the show this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, we are now having so much good news coming in on this economic side of the nation. We're hearing Dangote refineries will be going um, into production, and then they will be producing Jet A1, which is the aviation fuel, and then AGO, the one that we call diesel. And people are asking, what happened to PMS? The PMS, is it, does the poor man fly? Does the poor man use diesel for anything? Why are they not doing PMS that everybody, the poor and the rich, but basically it's so important to the poor and nearly strangulating the poor now? Why are we not having the production of PMS rather than this other two? That is the question being asked. What's your take on that?
I was kind of surprised too when I had the report. Well, after making careful thoughts about evaluation of the whole thing, I discovered that they deliberately prioritized the production of diesel and Jet A1 first because they are targeting cost of production. And if cost of production is has been on the high side, don't forget GlaxoSmithKline just exited the country and P&G too had followed. And part of the reason why the companies are folding up is the enabling business environment, which is the high cost of production and, of course, the other logistic challenges. So that's why I feel the price of diesel needs to come down, as well as that of the cost of flight for personnel and other businessmen. So if these two comes down, it will have a spillover effect on the cost of production and, of course, the prices of the products. So that is why I think those ones are being prioritized, as well as well, petrol. We still have, I think, a number in circulation that can still go side by side what Dangote will later be having the diesel they're producing. But in my opinion, that is why I think those two products were kind of given priority because cost of flight tickets is on the high side, and the main reason is because of Jet A1. And these are businessmen traveling. The common people don't travel, apart from our political class anyway. But for the diesel, everyone agrees that the price of diesel needs to come down if we really want to bring down the cost of production.
Yes, cost of production. That's a good one, targeting cost of production. But people are asking, how soon will this intervention, how soon and how? How and how soon will it impact the cost of production? Will it be at a cheaper rate than the ones being correctly imported, or how?
It's going to be cheaper because even though the crude will still be sold at the foreign
Spot
exchange
market?
market, yeah, but the cost of importation, freight, and the rest of them would be off it. And of course, the logistics of moving around will also be off it. That will bring down the price to a reasonable level, maybe to around 600 naira. If price diesel is selling for 600, it will be a big relief for those who run power their plants with diesel. Spending the time the gas project as well as the other energy effort being made by the government will also come to full fruition. That's on the one side. The government is also looking at the share market. I think a 1 billion naira hit for 75 companies, which are going to they will soon be assessing as soon as the Ministry of Trade and
A
Investment.
billion
Uh,
naira for 75 companies.
yes, that's kind of intervention going into the manufacturing sector. And that with diesel would definitely crash the cost of production. I think the government wants to tackle price from the production end so that it's going to be arriving at the market in a more reasonable price. That's what I think is happening, and of course, it's a welcome development if it is followed through.
All right. People, that's a good one. Tackling consumer price index from the cost of production end. But people are asking, the pepper, the onion, the tomato that we eat every day here in Ibadan is transported by those, the one they call minibuses from Zamfara, Kaduna, Sokoto, on a daily basis with vehicles, buses that are dependent on PMS, the one that we call petrol here. So that one will not be affected immediately, and that is critical to what the people eat.
That information may not be correct. From what I know, it is the large truck that also convey this thing in large quantities, and this truck also makes use of diesel. So their own logistics will also be brought down if there's anything to go by. Because currently, before a trailer would load goods, a trailer load a trailer load of some tomato and pepper before it will come down from Kaduna State, for instance, down to Ibadan here. The truck will not use less than diesel that is worth of close to 800,000. That is coupled with the various charges that, of course, the corrupt security agents will collect on the way. So when you look at that, there's no way it's not going to be affecting the price. But if the diesel is coming down to maybe 200,000, that would definitely have a significant impact on the price. So it's going to bring down the price of those other, except for those that are within the region, maybe from the Senyi Ogun area, which won't have much trucks going in that direction, unlike the core north, where we have trucks come in from that direction. So those are the ones, and if you look at the distance, the amount of petrol they will be spending to bring down items from the Senyi cannot be compared to you using petrol to bring all the way from Kaduna.
Yeah. Now, the bane of the last immediate past administration was what some experts saw as the overbearing influence of the monetary, the guys that were in charge of the monetary instruments in taming the economy, that was personified by Godwin Emefiele, and the inactive mood in which the fiscal end was in terms of the Ministry of Finance, planning, and all of that. When we saw a domination of the entire economic landscape by the monetary angle of the economy. There were, in fact, at a point in time, there was clearly a disagreement even between the Minister of Finance and the governor of the central bank. Are we seeing a unity of purpose? Are we seeing a synergy, the necessary synergy to drive Nigeria's economy out of the doldrums on both sides of this divide? Are we seeing that?
Yes, there is an improvement compared to the last administration. And these are the reasons. The last administration, there is no synergy. The fiscal side was running its own, and the monetary side was just being personified, as said, by the CBN governor. To the extent that when the cash currency, what is it called now, reduction or what cash swap was being issued, I remember the Ministry of Finance then, Zainab Ahmed, said she wasn't aware that such is going to happen. And she made a categorical statement that if the CBN goes ahead to do that, that there's going to be problem within the economy. And that was what eventually happened, which shows lack of synergy between them, and the corresponding effect was that the entire country suffered for it. But the situation we have now is similar to what we had under the penultimate president, that's Goodluck Jonathan. By pronouncing the Minister of Finance as the coordinating minister for the economy, that already makes it clear that the CBN cannot do anything without the knowledge of the finance minister, because he's to coordinate. And before he became the finance minister, he was first appointed as SA monetary policy, which means he's already been on the lookout of the monetary side. And being an economist by training, he has full-fledged understanding of how monetary policy works. So you find the synergy, and of course the revenue agency also being headed by someone who is a member of the team. And these are people that have worked together at the state level in Lagos, coming now to the national front. And their relationship goes way back. And of course, the person they are going to be working with has put them together based on the trust and the working relationship he has had with them in the past. So that cordiality in terms of relationship will also be reflecting in their work. And that's why you've been seeing them moving together. All the conferences they've attended, they've been moving together, both locally and internationally, so that they will be on the same page, not that one person would be saying one thing, another person will be saying another thing. Because it's important that the synergy of both policies is what would really boost the confidence of those who they are trying to attract in terms of foreign investors.
Over the weekend, Moody's upgraded Nigeria's rating. What does that imply on the monetary policy? What does that imply regarding the monetary policies of the government? Is that an approval or what? Or what's that rating about?
It's a form of approval. They probably have evaluated the move of the administration and, of course, the policies that they have been doing. Of course, the attempt to kind of give boost investors confidence. Remember, they inherited a situation where there are trap funds that is close to 10 million, more than $10 billion. And that is a very big issue when it comes to attraction of foreign investment, because the investors will look at that situation, coupled with the other non-economic related challenges as regards the enablement of the environment. They look at that. An investor is coming into your economy wants to be sure that, okay, if I make money in this economy, will I be able to repatriate my profit free? That is one thing they want to be interested in, because more investor will put money into an economy that will consume that investment. So the policy of government since June in that area has been kind of encouraging, and that's what I think has informed that rating.
Yes, but even at that, we'll still see the foreign investors, jumping off the Nigerian space. How do you reconcile that?
Those that are leaving are not the newcomers. Like P&G, for instance, before Nigeria, they have shut down in India, they have shut down in Kenya. They are just adding Nigeria to the fold. And that means something is happening within the company that is just beyond Nigeria. Of course, Nigerian factor is also added, but it is just not that alone, because it's a company that has been in existence for more than 4 decades within the country. So if they can survive, and our economy has never been enabling enough, except the investors are rugged. And don't forget, we have the market here. So that is guaranteed. We have cheap labor here. Those are two things that investors look for, especially in the manufacturing sector, which is abundant here. We have the cheap labor, we have the market. So they cannot just exit such an environment without a cogent reason. So they may be looking at downsizing their production plan. They may be divesting into other areas. So those are things, but it's best known to the management of such corporations. But we still have other ones that are local, that are still surviving the economy. And the government too is aware of this. They will also be looking at how others would also not exist. And how would they not exist is that the critical infrastructure needed to promote industrialization must be expedited upon.
All over the Nigerian space, what is the government doing? We are not feeling the impact. There is so much pain. There is so much anguish. Is there something that the government needs to be doing? I'm talking about the federal government level now that formulates policies, economic policies, and all of that. That is not being done. That can ease that can ease the pain of the people immediately now, you know?
The immediate thing that I feel can heal the pain of the people is to divert the subsidy to consumables, basic items that people consume daily. For instance, if something can be done to the bag of rice, to nosedive to around 25,000 or at most 30,000, it will be a big relief for those who are after the product, especially now that we are in festive period, and the product will be on the high demand. So things like that are what the government can do, and it's not rocket science. It's a matter of just getting the middlemen to putting the money in their hand and asking them, fixing the price for them, just like you are doing for petrol. You can do that for the time being that the agricultural effort being made to boost the production or the cultivation of the product would manifest. Maybe just a 6-month period to really bring a sort of relief. That is one thing that the government can do in the immediate. Like you can go back to the Muritala regime. When it came up, there was high inflation. People, so many products that were way out of the reach of people. But they went and imported this thing in mass, flooded the market with them to crash the one that were already existing. And they were even branded the name of the administration, Muritala Sugar, Muritala Milk, Muritala this. And if you ask anybody that is mature enough during that time, that is the story they will tell you. And this is an administration that lasted just 8 months. So when you look at that, but within that 8 months of impact that people should talk about, these are things that the current government can also do. Because you cannot be living and displaying opulence by buying SUVs for yourself and your head, and not really thinking about what to do to bring so-called to the condition of your people.
Now, at the state level, because there's so much noise about federal government. Just during the week when we were having a conversation, I remember we talked about a 109% increase in the liquidity available to be shared by the 3 tiers of government, the federal, state, and the local government. But everybody is shouting federal government. What should the states be targeting to do with this liquidity that is available to them now? 109% over and above what they got last year. That's more than double, at least a double.
For the states, they need to look more into agriculture. And because if you want to boost food production, that is the way to go. I understand the state government in next year's budget is supposed to have 15 billion in agriculture. That is huge if truly the money will not be diverted. And agriculture is not something that can cover up your secrets. Put money there within 6 months, you're already seeing results. So within 3 months, you're already seeing results. Meaning that if that has been, if it's an audio promise that is not going to be implemented, within 6 months, people would have known that, no, this is false and it's a fraud on the part of the government. So they need to really boost agricultural supply of food items. We can't be relying on the north. We claim that the north is ravaged with insecurity, and that is still where
our food is coming from.
And here that we have minimal security threats, we are not doing anything. And even we have situation of people that have planted cassava that are not getting buyers to really process them. And these are because the cassava may be located in an obscure area that is not accessible. Government needs to come into all this. Then you need to get the local government involved. Local government has been practically moribund in Oyo State. We need to revive the local government life that we used to know, because they are closer to the people. You can mandate them, give them agricultural mandate. Okay, Ibarapa local government, make sure you supply us yam or cassava. Okay, Ogun local government,
give us grains.
Grains. Yes, and they will run with it. Let them gather it, set up warehouses where these things will be properly stored, so that it's not going to, because we have storage problem as well. So that will be properly preserved. And once it is preserved, even out of season, we'll still have the stock that will be going into the market gradually. And of course, the price will be stable. But this situation where we have now is a situation where exploitation is encouraged on the high side.
We're talking about storage. Oyo State government has been in a tango with the contractor that is executing a huge silo that is in Oyo that has been under construction. Huge silo that has been under construction since the days of Ajimobi government. But it's not completed. All sorts of tales I've heard about that, and and those stories are authoritative regarding the situation in that silo. And that is critical infrastructure in agri, and we are not having it completed.
Meant for grains and cereals. What about tuber crops like cassava and yam? What about vegetables? How do you preserve those ones in silos? We need warehouse.
Yeah.
That will be
refrigerated. But you're talking about refrigerated warehouses.
Exactly. That's what we should be looking into. We are no longer in the ancient of days where we rely most on those ones. You know, technology has advanced. We need things like that being put in place. And we don't need to go far. Luckily, Oyo State is hosting all the agricultural institutes that you can imagine. IITA, Crane, Frame, all of them are domiciled here in the capital. Meaning that we don't even need to go far to get research or more
expertise
to really plant. And
yes.
You have expertise
yes.
that would work on this thing that you can consult. They will tell you do soil testing as a minimal. You don't need to go far. So these are things that I see as a time we have the.
We are not taking a good advantage of them.
Land mass is as big as the 5 southeast states.
Now, no matter what we do. Hello, sir.
I'm listening.
No matter what we do, no matter the effort we put into it, 2 things I believe remain critical. Number 1 is power. It's critical even to the agro industry. Go to Oyo now. All the efforts of the Oyo State government, power is, a lot has been done there. Power is still critical. I've heard those who are there complaining about the issue of power and how they have to, the cost of powering their own specific hub. Then the other one is that we still do rain-fed agriculture in the southern part of Nigeria, especially in the southwest.
Because we see rain in abundance.
Are we seeing rain in abundance? Have you forgotten what happened in the past 2 years and the enormous costs to farmers and how it impacted everybody?
That's of what I mean by being not serious. We have Ikeredie.
It belongs to the federal government.
It can be a source of irrigation to the entire Okiogun.
It belongs to the federal government.
All these things are being looked into. The fact that it belongs to the federal government doesn't mean the state. It is still the state asset. It is the state that owns the land. And we are talking about agriculture here. It's in concurrent, not exclusive. So there's no excuse.
What are resources?
Our generation is no longer an exclusive matter.
Yeah.
It is now concurrent matter. So no excuses.
Even generation, distribution, and transmission.
Everything has been decentralized. Because either so, the problem of power is if you generate power, you have to connect to the grid.
National grid.
And there will be problem. But now, that is no longer the case. You can create your own transmission network. And there are even this proposal that is currently being in the pipeline that the discos may now be under the supervision of the state government, which will be a welcome development. That means IBEDC would now answer to Governor Makinde and maybe the Osun State.
Does that make business sense?
It will make business sense. It will mean that the governor can now tell them, come, it's like, this domain is too big for you. Let's cut it into 2. And as far as I know, you need to break down, unbundle the discos. You have 12 of them. 12 is too small to distribute effectively for a country.
What about transmission? What about transmission?
transmission is already being worked on. That is the role of Siemens for now, because they're already advancing in that. But it's not something that would happen overnight. But we need to really look away from that transmission grid. We can create a mini grid network around the.
That is where we started from until nationalization or making everything national became the vogue in the days of Obasanjo.
Exactly. No, apart from the national, it was the unification decree that really centralized it.
Everything.
Nationalization just came as to get foreign companies that are.
I mean, when I said nationalization in this guy, making everything national, of course, it is traceable to Decree 34,
Yeah.
drafted by
But
Professor Benny Wabweze of blessed memory.
Of 1966 had already centralized every regional asset.
Yes, and
So
as we.
that was when the problem started. Obasanjo just gave them national identity. No?
So let me now ask this question because it may be the one on which everything is hinged. In your considered opinion of what you have seen about the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, are you of the opinion that he has the necessary political will to drive his vision through?
I cannot categorically conclude because
from what, based on what you have seen,
it's based on what I've seen, I think he has, but he needs to be more brutal in some areas.
Because, really?
Yes, we have some economic bandits within that are ready to frustrate any policy that is not to their own advantage. And we have a situation where lawbreakers go scot-free. Criminals are not being punished. The president needs to really be serious about law enforcement. If he does not.
In which areas of law enforcement?
Politically.
Politically.
Corruption, both criminal. He needs to be serious because you have the intelligence agencies outfit that will give you the intelligence. Get the dossier of these people. You cannot be claiming that you are not aware that some people are behind the sponsorship of terrorism, which is affecting our agricultural and raw material production, as well as the development of our solid minerals. Why are we playing politics with that? You cannot claim not to be aware of those who are within the ranks of the civil service who would bungle contractor and discourage employers.
Like the P and ID, BPD and what is it again? That contract. The P and ID.
When he went to India, he met one of the biggest player in the Indian economy there. And he was trying to woo the man. And the man said, well, my file has been on your table for the past 12 years. Can you imagine that? Meaning the man had already been interested in coming to Nigeria.
Exactly. Bureaucratic. Bureaucracy, the bureaucratic maze in Abuja and everywhere.
If he wants to achieve anything in the area of the economy, because we keep talking about the economy will bring about job creation that will reduce unemployment. Economy will bring about improvement in the standard of living. Economy will bring about the overall human capital development. If it is not taken seriously, we will not really, we will still have that poverty level. You can imagine over 133 million people is said to be multidimensionally poor. That is huge in a country of one. So that means half of our population is multidimensionally poor.
And in 30 seconds, as we wrap this up, by the end of the first half of year 2024, do you foresee, as we go, any form of relief coming the way of Nigerians in terms of food price, consumer price index?
All things being equal, if we start, if the refineries work and they are effective by then, no crash, nothing, and if by that time Siemens would have also advanced in what they are doing, there would have been improvements in power, there would have been cheap supply of petroleum products, definitely there is supposed to be an improvement in the standard of living of people.
Yes, keeping hope alive. Yes, and of course, we should not forget that this administration's campaign mantra is renewed hope. Well, Nigerians might have a lot of deficit of trust for governments, but this man is here for the first time. He's not been president before. So let us keep hope alive. We didn't arrive at this terrible location by sudden flight. It is a journey that took us there, and it is a journey that will take us out, not a sudden flight. Mr. Badejoko Adesubo, thank you so much. I literally jumped on you this afternoon, and thank you for honoring the invite to join us on this program. And of course, your incisive interventions always. God bless you, and do have a restful evening.
Thank you. Have a restful evening.
Listeners and viewers, thank you so much. It's been political update, and of course, we've been having a rundown of the recent developments in the Nigerian economic space and the projection even into the end of first half of year 2024. Thank you so much for watching and listening. God bless you all. It's been me, Ayodiji Ajishokwe, presenting with Vic Regis, producing me. Bye for now.
Solutions 93.9 FM. We know they go anywhere. We there for you. Campaign.